Welcome to Queer Conversations. You're watching Very G TV. I'm usually your host, G. Today, your host is going to be Sai.
Hello.
And Sai, she just jumped on board at Very G TV. She is the
Content writer and researcher for Very G TV.
Thank you so much. I love that you. I feel like you're far. Nikki, is she far away now?
I'm very close.
Yeah, okay, so good. So yeah, and thanks for your help. I love that you jumped on board, reached out. I've known Sai for a couple of years now, and so I think that's great that you were like, hey, I wanna help. Yeah, so I love that. And so today, Sai is going to be interviewing me, and please ask questions as well. You can partner with her. So I'm gonna hand the reins over to you.
Well, this is a wonderful experience, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I think your work is great, and I'm so happy I get to support you in this time. And I'm really excited about this particular interview because I get to learn more about you and share that experience with everyone else.
Yeah. Well, I'm usually interviewing people and getting to know them better. So I know some people, if you've read my articles or even just listened to what I've said in some spaces, you know some about me. But hey, can't hurt to get to know me better.
You know what? And on that note, I did read an article about you. And I was so moved and touched by that. And I wanted to dive deeper into how you got to where you are right now. So if you could talk a little bit about the different phases you were living in and how you were defining yourself and how you've answered your current calling of being who you are today.
Okay. So that's a massive question. I'm gonna try and truncate it because. Pretty much grew up. I would say tomboy. You know what they'd say now, gender non-conforming tomboy, but it had nothing to do with my sexuality. You know.
Okay.
So I identified as straight for my entire childhood, and in my young adulthood, married a man, had kids, lived a traditional, heterosexual life, and so on. I was homophobic. I talk about that, and I think it's important. I'm actually, in some odd ways, happy that I was, because I can actually relate to when people are saying it's wrong, and people who have challenges with people being gay or LGBTQ, that I can kind of hey, I was there, and yeah, you don't have to end up being as gay as me.
Right.
You could open your mind, and you could end up being as gay as me. That's fine too. So yeah, had a wonderful life though. I did have some challenges with having to recognize that I'm gay and accepting it, but meaning we're getting a call. So I'm scared to press anything on the screen. And we have, thank you, Nikki. Okay. So I enjoyed my marriage, love being a mom, love raising my sons, soccer, swimming, trips. I love reading to them every night. So I love that whole mommy world and everything. And then later on in my adulthood, I really had to accept that I'm gay, lesbian, queer, whatever you want to call it, a woman, and started to explore being with women, and ended up no longer married, and being with women, and really just it went from I think it's someone described it recently to me like a kettle, and it's
a
kettle. And then steam, and it's psh. So I'm like that.
Okay.
So after being straight and homophobic and concerned about being gay, I was really scared of judgment, just kicking down a door and it's being explosive. So that's what takes me to want to share my story, takes me to want to do The Art Woman, Virgin TV, and just wanted to share so much. So when you say answer my calling, it's I don't even feel like I have a choice. It's literally I have to do this work. It's I don't feel like I have a choice. I love it. Thankfully, I love it.
Of course.
but it's without a doubt, because I just felt so isolated and lonely, and there was no one else like me. So I love to share. That's why I love to share stories. It's I like to create the spaces the Art Woman for people to share their stories, so people feel community and connected. Because I felt absolutely isolated. I can say it lightly now, but there was a time when that was very challenging.
I think that's why I love your story so much, because I feel like you are someone who challenged the paradigm of being someone who was a female, lesbian, masculine presenting, and you also loved motherhood. That in itself is so diverse and interesting, and I love that you embrace both parts of who you are, and yet they both don't completely define you.
No, definitely not.
And in addition to that, understanding your fear, and that in a way you lived with your fear. It's not like you battled it. You in a way, would you say accepted it? You worked with it?
The fear was profound. I had fear that took me to something I don't even like talking about that much now and couldn't talk about then, but took me to panic attacks, which is horrific. So I felt fear, well, lots of things in life, but and now I'm nearly fearless, which I love.
You generally had panic attacks around fear or about a particular topic?
Thinking that I'm gay. I was really worried I was going to be gay.
Wow.
I was really worried about it. So, and probably I should have been. But
coming to the rainbow.
So I was really scared. I got married young, in my young 20s, 2 beautiful sons, and just having this beautiful life, and I just felt like, oh my gosh, this whole thing's gonna come crashing down. I remember like when you watch a movie and the beginning is like families in a car and it's beautiful music and they're laughing,
right,
and you could just tell like something bad's gonna happen.
Right.
I had that kind of fear.
Okay.
You know, so thankfully what I thought was bad ended up being beautiful. So not bad at all. But to my mind, where I was, I felt it was going to be like a nightmare for me. I didn't know how I'd be able to live with myself. So, yeah.
And was that the only fear aside from your sexuality? Or were there any fears about where you're going professionally or, you know, motherhood?
Well, it's funny. Yeah, I had, when I get into fears, I had a few. I had a fear of, first of all, I think most people have, I was afraid of dying, you know, and I no longer have that fear, thankfully. Well, if I'm about to die that very moment, I think I'll be afraid just for those moments, but I don't spend time thinking about it, right?
Okay.
So I was scared of losing my children dying. You know, as a young mom, I think any age mom, it just was something that I didn't say out loud, but I was so protective and like, oh my God, please let my kids, I mean, it sounds, it's, I think a lot of parents worry about it, but that was something that was fair. So I had to let go of that. Like, just live your life and enjoy your children, and they're fine, and you're fine, and you guys are all here. No one's dying. I mean, not for now. We have to die in the future, but
right.
So death. What else was I afraid of? I was actually afraid of success. Like, with some people, like, that's so weird. Like, that I'm gonna be like, can I handle how amazing I'm gonna be? Like, it's gonna be too much.
So you were afraid that you couldn't live up to that expectation.
I was afraid that I just would be. It sounds odd, but it's like I was working towards so many great things in my life. It's like, when I get to all this greatness, can I handle myself? I was intimidated by who I may become. Yeah.
That's new.
No.
Because I mean, we've talked about my fears. I have
more. I see, like,
okay,
good, more centered.
Hi.
Yeah, more centered.
I mean, we've talked about my fears and understanding how fear, it's either it'll consume you or you have to kind of control that, right? And I think for me, I'm afraid that I'm gonna fail.
Okay.
You know, I want to be successful, but I'm afraid I'm gonna fail.
A lot of people have that fear. Yeah.
So, but then someone told me that fear of failure is the same as fear of success.
Yeah.
I was told that once.
Yeah, I've heard that, and it was hard for me to even. I think I had to read something where someone said like one of our greatest fears is really how great we can be, and it does feel because it's like. It's too much for me. Like, I can't handle it. I was also like, I was in my 20s, you know, married and having children, you know, and just had done a lot very young. And so it felt sometimes overwhelming for me. So, yes. Thank you for joining. I see people coming on.
Oh, that's what it looks like on this.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. So you're watching Qonversations, and today we have Sai interviewing G, and she's been behind the scenes in some of the Verity TV productions, and I appreciate it. And she said, hey, I want to put you, I don't know if it's on the spot, but just talk to me to like share more about who I am and my ideas and concepts. So.
Definitely. And you know, the thing is, your show is so personal. And I feel like you having this moment with me, getting to know you on this level, gives all of us a better understanding of why this show is so important to everyone else and you.
I appreciate it. Okay, that's great. So if you have any questions, you can join, you know, with Sai.
Rachel Galvin said you're so cool.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. So yeah, if you have questions, you can ask questions as well. So you asked about what fears and coming out and so on. So what's next? What else you got for me?
Well, you just came back from Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And so I want to hear a little bit about how you were before you went and what you feel like you are now, how you've changed in that time.
Wow. Okay. So I went to Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, a lot of different areas of Israel. So overall Israel. and it was with an organization. Shout out to Wider Bridge and the whole AWB family. It was a 10-day LGBTQ mission. And I would say before I went to Israel, I would say that my concern was, about the Palestinians. I felt, and I don't want to say like I'm not concerned about them now, but that was like my view was like, perhaps the Israelis are doing something very wrong.
That's what you realized when you got there?
No, that's what I felt before.
Okay.
And I would say this, and I told this to the group, they know. I said, as somebody who is Jamaican, black living in America,
right,
Israel is not a concern. It's not something I said, I don't want you guys to feel it away. It's not something I think about. Like, think about it. Do you think about it? Like, it's not,
right.
We're thinking about, the things that happen for black people in America. There's a lot of oppression. We're thinking about coming out, supporting our, community. So it wasn't something that's on my mind. But when I was asked, would you like to come to Israel? I was like, I don't know if I want to come to Israel. I had concerns about what Israel was doing.
Right.
Going there and spending time and getting to know more about their history, and getting to understand, for me primarily, like that both the Jews and the Palestinians have a story and have some, and they're both valid. It's not just like one is wrong, one is right. That they both believe these things sincerely as a core of who they are, and also that I'm Jamaican. If I never go back to Jamaica, I feel okay about that. I'd like to go back. I go. And most Jamaicans live outside of Jamaica. We're in America, Canada, England. Jamaica's tiny. It's like probably like 3 million people.
Right.
And we have millions of us outside of it. But for Jews and Palestinians, they're connected to that land. Right? So it's something that I can't completely relate to because my family has been between Jamaica and America from the 1800s, going back and forth. Some people stayed, some people came back, some people have done back and forth.
You don't feel connected to the land at all? Not in any way?
No, when I go there, I feel really good. I love to be there. But I can be Jamaican and feel completely happy without... I know Jamaicans who have never even gone back. So I do feel a connection to Jamaica. But it's not like the connection the Palestinians and Israel feel to that land and the history that they have. And, so I would say overall it's like I have a broader and deeper perspective of the whole issue. We could spend 6 hours talking about just that and still not get to the bottom of it. But it definitely changed my worldview, And like I said, it wasn't something I spent a lot of time thinking about. But when I had to think about it, I was like, well, I'm not sure. I really felt like it was kind of comparable to like South Africa, like maybe this is apartheid. So I was concerned about that, going there and hearing from both sides, meeting Palestinians and seeing their world. Some of it is not good at all. There's a wall that divides Palestinians from entering, I guess, Israel proper, and they have to go through a whole security system. So there's things that's disturbing, but there's things that is also hopeful, And the LGBT community, which is the primary reason we're going, what was great to see is that in many ways they're just like us. And I find the same thing when I was in Jamaica. Like, we have the same concerns, same challenges. Now, we've overcome more here in America than maybe Israel, and Israel more than Jamaica, but overall we have the same thing. We want to have families, we want to be happy, we want to be able to be ourselves,
of course,
everywhere.
Of course.
I heard from 3 women there 3 different women prominent, like one's running for office, one is leading an organization, and their story was similar to mine. They had married men, stayed with men for years, and then had, so it's like, I was like, I completely, one woman came out at 60,
Wow,
Sarah.
bless her.
Yeah, when she took share, I cried. I was trying to,
wow.
I was like, trying to I have to fix my glasses type thing. So, but,
that actually reminds me of a woman I met when I was auditioning for the Vagina Monologues. She didn't have her first orgasm until she was 75.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's a long time.
My heart goes out
to
those experiences.
Wow. But it's good that she got that experience. I'm sad
Yes.
that she's same with this woman in Israel. Like she's 68 now, so she waited, and she knew the whole time. She waited
Why did she?
She waited for her parents to die. She waited for it to be a time where she could be herself. And so she had a beautiful family. She has children. She has 9 grandchildren. She has this wonderful, offsprings and everything, but she wasn't able to be herself. It's like a sacrifice.
Wow.
You know, she made. But yeah, when she shared the story, I was like, oh man, this is gonna make me cry. You know that feeling when you're trying not to and you get the goose. All these feelings are happening. So
yeah, I'm definitely feeling that right now.
yes.
So with all that said, how do you feel now coming back? Do you feel rejuvenated? Do you feel grateful? I'm sure you feel all those things. But what are you seeing yourself? How do you see this now? Your situation, your platform, everything. How do you see?
Well, I feel and it's something that I was feeling before because I live in South Florida. But I've gotten involved in doing LGBT work in Jamaica primarily. Even though I'm from Kingston, I got involved in Montego Bay Pride because of a colleague of mine, Maurice Tomlinson, who's very involved in Montego Bay Pride. So that was kind of like a beginning of me feeling like, and just acknowledging that there's a global LGBT family. Wherever we are in the world, that we are connected to each other. So going to Israel, which is this like somewhere just I didn't even imagine going, and feeling like, well, I'm connected to these people here. Like we are all very much related and have similar circumstances. And so I feel more motivated to do things like internationally. I also feel like what I saw in Israel and saw with a wider bridge, like I really want to have that in Jamaica.
Well,
I really want to have that in Jamaica. I really want us to. We do work in Jamaica, but I feel like the Jamaicans and millions of Jamaicans outside of Jamaica could really help. We could change Jamaica.
So Nikki Lopez asked a question that relates to that exactly. She says, is there one thing you experienced or learned from your trip that you can take into your work here in the U.S.?
Is there one thing?
You can name more than one, but at least one thing. What's something concrete that you could feel like, I went to Israel, this is some tool that I'm definitely implementing when I get back?
That's a tough one. Well, the one thing that I'm implementing, but it's not necessarily in the United States, is working at home.
In your work?
Right, in my work. So I reached out to Maurice, the colleague of mine who does work. I emailed him this morning. Since I got back from Israel, I've been waking up 1 o'clock in the morning. So this is like, it's supposed to be bedtime for me here. So hopefully I get back to American time. But anyway, so I emailed him today to say, hey, I saw this, I got to experience what this organization is doing for Israel. They're putting a lot of, they're supporting the LGBT organizations. They're already doing the work. Like, so I don't have to figure out how to help Jamaica like myself, but I can figure out funding. And then connect, bring you to Jamaica, bring you guys to Jamaica, come and connect with the community there. Like I love like the formula of how they're doing it. And then guess what? The 30 people that they brought to Israel from America.
Right.
We're all connected now too.
Yes.
So that's powerful. So I'd say the thing I took the most from, other than like really experiencing it and really appreciating it, opening my mind I went there like I wouldn't go there to say this is how it is. I went there like I'm gonna open my mind, and when I see something that I'm concerned about, I'm gonna discuss it. I'm gonna challenge it. I was probably one of the top. I think I can tell you one of the top question askers.
Whoa!
There, right, Nikki? They know like they're like, G's got a question. I'm like, so
you're very studious.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to be that person. We went to the Knesset, which is a parliament, which like when you have Congress here, and I asked a question there. I'm like everywhere. I'm just like, and my questions aren't just like I just want to ask a question. It's like I'm really trying to get a better understanding of why is this that way, and why is this that way, and how does this work? But things are very, very different. This is a country that recruited people to come and live there. Unlike America, that is like, oh, we don't want immigrants. They want immigrants. It's like, imagine.
I mean, but I think that's why your experience is so important, because I think here in the U.S., because I'm from here, so I can only speak about being here and learning here. As you know, our education, in my opinion, is a little lacking. It's a little lackluster. We don't hear enough about what's going on in other countries and the way their systems are set up. What if parliament exists in how many other countries? We don't really know about those things, right? And how crucial that is to the culture and the development of those countries. So you going over there and talking about what you've learned, what you've realized, the connections you've made, helps people like us who couldn't go and see things in a different light. Why people act the way that they do when they come from these different countries. So.
Yeah, and I want to stay connected with the people I met there, the LGBTQ leaders there. I feel like we're gonna there's a reason, like really greater reason for why all this is happening. I feel that about a lot of things in life. So whether I'm gonna go back to Israel and help people in Palestine, or is Israel gonna help Jamaica, or come to the Art Woman in March and perform on the stage. I told women over there, I'm like, come to the Art Woman.
Wow,
yeah, yes. come over. So so does that answer your question, Nikki?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Any more questions? Hey, Kathy. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Queer Conversations, amplifying the voice and visibility of the LGBTQ community. I'm G. I'm usually your host, but today our host is Sai, and she's asking me anything she wants to ask me, and you can do the same.
So if you have any questions, please do share, and I'll be more than happy to ask you.
Yep.
So it's wonderful that you had this wonderful experience. Everything is so wonderful.
Yes.
That's my favorite word. Sorry.
Wonderful.
Yes.
I like that.
And so now we've come to this point where we've learned about how you got to this point, how you've come over, gone over through your fears, and this is what your calling is right now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see your work playing out? Like, what are your goals? What is it that you are aspiring to achieve? Especially since what you saw, happen in Jerusalem and all these organizations, people coming together. How do you see your work contributing?
I see, I don't want to be corny, but like how Martin Luther King said, he envisioned this day where a black child, a white child could hold hands. So I don't even know if we really accomplished that fully, but we've come a long way since Dr. King, right? Mm-hmm. So pretty much for that, for our community, that, a woman and a woman could hold hands anywhere, a man and a man could hold hands anywhere. We could be ourselves, we could marry anywhere, we could have families, and just be just like we are supposed to be, just like everybody else. Like obviously we're different, but meaning like not being discriminated against. I didn't want to be gay for a lot of reasons, and I'm sure one of the reasons was that I didn't want to be, we're already black woman. It's like all these things, but which I love and celebrate. But meaning these are people, these are categories of people who get discriminated against.
Yes.
Gay to me was like, oh my God, I can't handle that.
Right.
So I would like it to be that it's being gay is like being straight. Just that's it. So yeah, I want people to. I think it's going to happen in time that people are going to be changing their outlook, perception, views about people from the LGBT community, and us being open and out and sharing stories makes a big difference. And people who are watching this all over the world, people watch this from all over the world. Some people, I'm not sure where they are, but thank you for watching. But some people are watching that they don't see anybody gay around them, but they see this, So yeah, so I said my ultimate goal is for everybody to just be able to live their authentic, true selves and just judgment free.
I want that too.
Yeah.
But when you say all of this, what you're saying as far as like you want to make these changes, I can't help but think to myself, what needs to happen in the LGBTQ community to change so that we can actually make those changes on the outside, right? Because you and I both know there are issues within the black community that we need to work on to make sure that movement is more successful. Yes. In the same way, I believe in the LGBT community, any kind of movement, really, any community, we need to work on intra-community.
Yeah, we do.
Before inter-community to a certain degree. And so I want to know what it is we could do within our community in a sense, like, for example, there are not a lot of lesbian spaces. Mm-hmm. Why? What do we do to improve that? Lesbians are beautiful. Everyone's beautiful.
We are beautiful, but I think a lot of lesbians just want to stay home. A lot want to stay home. So look.
Netflix is making a lot of money.
Yeah. So look, there are a lot of lesbians who want to go to a party, right?
Right.
But is it enough to sustain a club or a bar?
So why is that? Why is that lesbians don't want to party as much as gay men? Why is that the stereotype? Because I definitely like to party. Okay, so I want to say I think men are just more motivated to meet other men. That's what I feel. I feel that women, I feel like, okay. I love meeting other women. And just because I meet a woman doesn't mean I want to have sex with them. Okay. I mean, I'm like, hey, another sister. Okay, so we're in South Florida and we're in Fort Lauderdale, and beside us is what they call a gayborhood, Wilton Manors. Have you gone into this place, Alibis? Yes.
This is a men's bar. You can go there 12 o'clock in the day or midnight. It's packed out with men.
Right.
It's packed out. They're much more motivated to meet each other, whether it's for sex, companionship, to just be around each other. Women are not packing out any place like that. They will know, I have an event. I was having Dar Woman 2 or 3 times a year. They're like, oh, this is an event that's 2 or 3 times a year. Let's all go. But if I said, let's do Dar Woman every single week or month, it would not be sustainable. So no. So women, I think, so yeah, I would be great. And I was excited to see we had the G-spot. I was like, yay. and just shy of a year it had to close. And we've been seeing stories. This is the entire United States, even San Francisco places. It's like women want to cuddle or even have little dinner parties. I'm gonna invite you and your girlfriend and like 3-4 couples come and we have wine and we eat and we're gonna have some cozier things. We're not necessarily going to go in a. So we're more like special occasion.
I want to challenge you though.
Challenge me.
I definitely want to challenge you. I'm gonna use my women's studies degree.
Go ahead.
And I'm gonna challenge you. And I want to challenge you in the sense that from what I've seen personally, I think at times women can be somewhat cliquey.
Yeah.
They stay in their cliques, what's familiar, so that's one. But I also think that's a contributor of survival mode. I think we as women, we have to be in survival mode. I mean, if you just look at it just as far as gender disparity, oftentimes women are their caregivers, the main caregivers. Now sometimes they're even the main breadwinners in their homes. And so in addition to that, women are also still getting paid less than men. And we're not going to have as much luxury and time and flexibility as men do to do those things.
Yeah, one thing you raised.
Is he disagreeing with me?
I think so.
Well, I'd like to hear his opinion.
No, we're not putting him. I don't think I can bring that son of mine on live. Maybe on my personal page I would let him come on, but he's a little controversial.
But I would love to hear a young men's opinion about what I'm saying, because this is research.
We'll do that when
research.
we're not live on Virgin TV. Let's say it's true, men are a lot more supportive to go out and meet. Yeah, Kitty. Thanks for joining and thanks for your comment. Yeah, the other thing with women too, that women, we have children. So there's another thing. Not all of us, but a lot of us have kids. So it's hard to go out and party all the time when you have kids. Are not this. So it's dinner time. It's homework. It's I gotta tuck you in.
I just put something like that.
Yeah. Oh wow. Oh my gosh. Nikki says we need more queer spaces and spaces for women that reflect the diversity of the different types of women. Singles, parents, gender benders, etc. Social. So it's right in line. And I guess we're like being over here. That So having a kid, like when my kids are small, you can see they're not little kids anymore.
Yes.
But when they're small, I didn't go to a lot of things where I couldn't take them. I went to events where I know it's going to be at a place where I can bring my kids. So Wilton Manor it's bars, and people. It's grown and sexy. So. If you have your kids, you're gonna get, some people are gonna get babysitting. So so the reason that why there's not as much women's spaces is because things like that. But let me just point out, there are people. I'm gonna big up Carla Remington, because Carla Remington has events at Cloud9, I think daily.
For women?
For women, it's for everybody. It's for everybody. It's for everybody.
Well, Cloud9 is for everybody. It's more of a lesbian bar.
More of a lesbian bar.
It's kind of like a dive bar.
Yeah,
right.
So,
I went there once.
Okay,
so
we have people like Carla working on it, and we have a lot of people like how I do with Art Woman. We have people like Sophia Tingle does an event in Miami, but it's like same thing. Like it's not every this or every that.
Have you heard of Octavia Yearwood?
No, I have not.
She started this thing called Lunchbox, which is like kind of like a meetup group for lesbians.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get more involved in that.
Great.
But
yeah, so I
don't know, and I'm still
2 minutes.
Wow, 2 minutes.
2 minutes left. Oh no.
Wow, time raced away from us, man.
As soon as you talk about lesbians, it just
wow. Yes. So. Okay.
Well, with that said, because I know that we can talk about this forever.
Yes.
But one thing I do want to say is that I just think it's harder. I do think it's harder for women. I think we as women are not as respected. Mm-hmm. Like when I go out in Wilton Manors, I feel like sometimes I get these looks where I shouldn't be there. Where like, why are you there? Maybe it's because maybe some people feel that they're being misled because I'm a bald-headed woman, and sometimes I can dress a little androgynous. So maybe they're disappointed that I come with different equipment. But
so who's looking at that? That's men or women? Who's looking at you like that?
I feel like from men. I get a sense from men that maybe they like who I am essentially, but that's kind of like their time. Like they want to meet other men. And I feel like me coming into that space is kind of like.
Oh.
Sometimes I feel like that, and then other times I find like a really amazing queen, and we just vibe and like we're hanging out and doing coffee for like 3 weeks straight. So
nice.
It kind of just depends.
Yeah, I have had. I mean, I don't know. When I go to, I don't go all that much, but if I go to like a bar and it's all men, I feel like I'm just like they're just doing their thing and I'm just here doing my thing. Like I've gone and usually I'm with a few women. Like a bunch of us go in, and so it's like. And
also, do you think women are always like cuddled up.
Yeah.
They always have a girlfriend. They go with a girlfriend.
Right, we're like nesters. We want to just like snuggle and stuff.
But I guess I'm the exception because I want to meet everybody.
Well, I have that too, and I party for years. I have times in my life where I party, and then I take a break. Party. So I've been both sides of that. Like I just want to, and I've been.
But
like,
I love meeting people though, and I feel like sometimes I feel like with women, if I try to talk to someone or have a conversation, automatically it's seen as like a threat. Like I want to get their girlfriend or something like that. But it's really I want to make friends. Like I want you to be my friend. I like that. Right. But I feel like sometimes you want to be territorial. I think that is stereotyping. But I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is just some generalizations because when I say men are more motivated, there are tons of men who just want to stay home and cuddle and watch Netflix. So it's not like this is generalizations of why is it that when we have a lesbian bar, it doesn't survive for a very long time. Generalizations. There's tons of women who are like, oh, there's women who went every Friday and every Saturday who are devastated that place is gone. But was it enough? It wasn't enough of the people doing that, And
access. And one last point, I feel like as a woman, I don't have the same freedom as a man does when I stay out late.
Oh yeah.
I have to think about things that men don't.
Right. Yeah.
Despite my sexuality.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. I hear that. I don't like it, but I do have to. Once in a while, I'm like, all right, I'm a woman, so I gotta think about like walking to my car. Someone, am I safe? Walking, in the night, am I safe? So, there's the differences.
It is.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
But does promotion has anything to do with it? Oh, like I think Kitty is saying, like, are we promoting our events? Well, yeah, some people are promoting more than others. And then you have events like Sweet Heat, Monster event with thousands of women, Aqua Girl, Our Woman is growing into the hundreds as well. You have, like I was saying, Sophie Tingle does her event. What's her event called in Miami? Let's Connect. And there's two of them, something else. But Let's Connect is so there's several women who are creating experiences for women, but it tends to be more like just not as frequent because we feel that if we had it too frequent, and I don't want to be begging an audience to come out every week. Come on back to the Art Woman. Come on back. Come on. It's like it's every Friday. You'll be like,
I think something could be said with the Let's Connect because it's actually two parties and they cross promote.
Yeah, I like that. What's the other one? Mina. Okay, so I like that. So. That's an event in Miami, and it's Sophia and her friend, and then they just have a similar market that they promote. I thought it was the same party, but it's like monthly they're doing something, so that's good. People will come out once a month, but if I said to you, come on out, at some point you're like, oh my God, G's calling me again. Oh hi, okay, I'll try to make it. Like I don't want to be that person like trying to push people to come out every Friday, or if I had a bar, come to my bar. When you have a bar, you have people come out all the time. It's challenging. So we're not gonna give up on it though. We're gonna always, they're always gonna. So look, you could be that person. You could be the person to create that space that's gonna be a consistent space for women to come to. That's the thing let me tell you this.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So this is it. One of the things that I've done for many different times in my life is when something that I want is missing, I create it. So if you feel something is missing, create it.
That is a wonderful takeaway from this conversation.
Yeah, create it.
I think it summed up everything.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure. We got another question?
Yes. What is sexy?
Oh, ha.
QQ.
Oh, and what is sexy?
Like in general?
Yeah. That's like one of her questions.
Yeah, I have this closing question. So she's like, hold on a second. Wow. What is sexy? It's funny, I ask people this question all the time. I just think so many things about women are sexy, so I'm just trying to narrow it to one thing. Can I just say women are sexy? Is that women are sexy. I think women are sexy. Yes.
What's funny? What do you find funny? What are the things that make you laugh?
You know what makes me laugh? Not to be like, I love, my favorite jokes are jokes about myself. Like when things that like my flaws.
You're very evolved. You're very evolved.
No, so when people tell me like the things that I do that I don't even notice. Like I have a friend who said like whenever I have a napkin, I throw it like far. She's like, why is it G? She said you eat and then you throw the napkin. I'm like, I do. So when I hear things that I like, and I know I talk sometimes too fast and I rattle.
Oh
so
yeah,
like you rat. So the thing that make me laugh probably the most is like jokes about myself.
What's great about being a lesbian or a gender non-conforming?
Oh,
these are good questions.
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm so glad Nikki remembered these. So that's Nikki on the other side. Thanks for supporting Nikki. What's great about being a lesbian? For me, is being able to just love women and be myself completely. And gender non-conforming, I have been gender non-conforming since I was a little girl. And it was a battle to be that. It was not easy. I had to wear a girl's uniform in Jamaica. It was a skirt or dress. I wore shorts underneath. So I feel probably maybe even more empowered as just being able to dress like this because I had to battle that. Now, as a girl child, as a tomboy, it's easier than a boy. I was just talking to a mom earlier who she has a son who's gender non-conforming.
Okay.
And that's more challenging because he wears dresses and he has a short haircut.
Right.
But for me, so tomboys are more acceptable. But my point is, it still was challenging. So I absolutely love the freedom of it. I feel just absolutely I feel awesome. What's the word you said? Wonderful.
Wonderful.
I feel powerful. I feel empowered. I feel handsome. I just feel amazing. So, what was the question?
You answered. Did you see the comment someone put? I think the lesbian community is divided in so many parts of the world. It's hard.
Yeah. It is.
Well, we're here to help unite it, right?
Definitely.
We're out of time, so you could choose to not answer it. But one of the questions is, what can we expect for the next Dark Woman?
Oh, I like that question. Okay, what can you expect? The next Dark Woman is going to be very different from the former ones, previous ones. It's going to be a 3-day weekend. Friday night's going to be jazz or some kind of live music and dinner and get a chance to chit-chat to people, flirt, Saturday is going to be the big open mic night. We're looking for a venue. It's hard because it's grown wonderfully. It's a good problem to have. We've grown and outgrown every space. So it's going to be a bigger space. We're going to have people come from out of town. So we're going to have some out-of-towners hit the stage as well. And then Sunday we're going to have a brunch. And we're working on the dates, but this is the concept for the weekend. Sunday's going to be a brunch. I'd love to have maybe a singer or a speaker or somebody. And so we really want people to come from all over the world. We're asking people, well, like I said, as in Israel, I'm telling people in Jamaica to come, people in New York to come. So we're going to have, I would say the next Dark Woman is going to have more women from around the world. And so I think it's going to bring, and all the performances are great. Big up Sai. She performed boldly in March. That was a great performance. Fierce, very fierce. So, a lot of people are asking about it. Some people are saying, oh man, they're disappointed it's not going to be. Usually we would do one in the summer and then November. But I'm building all this energy and everything into a really more magnificent event. And also because it's so many people, it would be hard to sustain doing. I've said sustain so much time in this video. No more. So it would be hard to keep it going. With that growth, unless that was my full-time job, that I could just say, 3 a year,
Right.
So tell your friends. That's the thing I'm telling people. Tell your friends from now, plan to come to Fort Lauderdale in March. As soon as we get the dates out, I'll let everybody know the dates. But start telling your friends, save up your money, plan to get a hotel, and come on down. And it's just gonna be grown sexy, poetry, performance, art, a little sophisticated vibe, very sexy vibe.
Or if you want to support or contribute, you always welcome wonderful minds and helping hands.
Yeah, definitely. Good point. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you, everybody, for watching Queer Conversations. Tune in every Tuesday evening. It's at 6 p.m. We're thinking of changing the time. I'll let everybody know if we change it. It might be a half an hour later, but right now we're at 6 p.m. And big up Sai for jumping on her first live. It's your first live, right?
Thank you. I graduated. Thank you. Yeah, ever.
Wow, right here on Verity TV. So how we end is that we press that button right there that says finish.
Okay, we're finished. Bye.
Bye.